To my surprise, Pokemon won the video selection poll that I held on my community page, which I think that's only because I mentioned that I would use some AI in the One Piece video. Humans are so funny, but regardless, we're going to have a great time. So bitches, get in because we're about to go shopping at the nearest Pokemall in Johto. Hola, my name is X, and I like to experiment with fashion as well as talk about whatever the hell I want on social media whenever I feel like it. And in this video, similar to the Kanto video that I did, we're just going to go leader by leader in the Johto region and discuss what I like and a lot of what I don't like about some of the outfits, as well as a little bit of the evolutions that the characters had, because there are some differentiations between Gen 2 and Gen 4. But then we're also gonna go shopping because we're solution oriented up in here for some statement items, designer oriented, that I think could give these leaders' outfits a bit more statement and elevation and just make them more memorable in general, at least to me. As far as Johto style in general, I would say that there is some interesting diversity, but I can't say that it's as much interesting diversity as we got from Gen 1. Overall, I just feel a little underwhelmed by some of the range in style. We're definitely still getting some cultural influence, some practical modern styles, but it just doesn't feel as knockout or iconic as at least the first set of characters. But honestly, I don't think we need to linger too much on context here. I feel like more enjoyment is going to get from jumping straight in. So let's move into reviewing these leader and character trainer styles. Starting with Chris, who is an absolute icon, pioneer. First female selectable character in the Pokemon game franchise. I absolutely loved Pokemon Crystal. It is one of those that are near and dear to my heart. I just love the overall expansion of Johto in general and that we could revisit Kanto. But then just with the Suicune storyline thrown in, which is my second top favorite character Pokemon, I just was absolutely obsessed. And Chris is the ambassador for that nostalgic and novel experience for me. Love her hairstyle, love her hair color. She is still rocking a lot of that similar protagonist style, which is a little casual, but it's also sporty and fun. So when I think about an outfit that I would love to dress her in, or I would love to see her kind of take on, is something that's like effortlessly cool girl. And I just think that something denim, light, but also kind of a little heavier, really embodies some of that crystal energy. And also just something a bit layered, because she also rocks with like a jacket and has some layered components to her style in general. So I feel like definitely incorporating some of that is key. I also would love to see her with a different type of shoe. I feel like the sneakers definitely root her in some casual style, but having something a little more semi-formal just elevates the look and gives it a little more of that chicness. So Faulkner, I have mixed feelings about. I actually liked his maybe just sprite in the original depiction, or when he originally premiered, just because I feel like white gives a little more of that sky energy. But in this case, I feel like just with so much blue going on, it's really giving ice. I will say that in some of the newer versions of his artwork, I do like that the shoes changed. They're a little bit more of a closed shoe, which I feel like is kind of just a cool semi-elevated style just because the shoe's innovative in general. But otherwise, I just still feel like the silhouette, we've seen it. And this is a little more out of the box, but I feel like Issei Miyake is definitely a cool brand. I like this color choice because it feels a little bit brighter. And again, it takes us out of the more deeper, richer blue tones of an ice and a water and gives us something a little more sky. I also like the silhouette of this. It mimics a bit of what he wears originally, but it gives a little more dimension. And when I think about flying, I also think dimension. But he does kind of have some of that with his jacket, which is why I think just throwing a white jacket or something and maybe a white belt over this would give us enough of some kind of accessorizing and statement, while also feeling a bit Asian and Eastern rooted in overall aesthetic and style. Bugsy, I also had mixed feelings about, and I feel like getting a Faulkner and Bugsy back to back with such similar hairstyles and not the most similar silhouette, but kind of, I felt a little underwhelmed in that regard. Although I have to say that Bugsy pulls off his style the best because he looks literally like someone who would just go out and catch some bugs in the grass. It is differentiated from the bug catcher trainers. At first I thought they looked very similar, but his does look a little more official. And between Gen 2 and Gen 4, I noticed that they did try to do a little more accessorizing. They gave him a cute little neck scarf and I think just like a little brown utility pouch. So there's efforts I see in the artwork and the design and styling. And so I was just looking for some inspo around a pair of those green shorts and just to kind of see what else we could get, and love this Tom Brown aesthetic. Tom Brown's very classy, sharp, and sophisticated in general. And I feel like with Bugsy embodying some of that astute bug researcher type vibe and energy, this is a perfect kind of casual but semi-dressed up spin and style for him. We see a lot of the same components in place, and I feel like having a jacket just gives a little more dimension and breaks him out of such a tight, tucked in, kind of square style, which there's nothing wrong with that, but I just really like something a little more laid back, relaxed, and even mature for a character like him. So Whitney, I more so recall from her battle and how it was just kind of like a difficulty curve for like random no reasons. But I'd say her style definitely fits her. She looks average. She looks like how a normal person would dress. I definitely, and it's so simple in styling, I like the original depiction in artwork. She had white shorts and just solid socks. Having striped socks, then having like blue shorts, it just feels like they're really trying to play it more so up the quirky angle of her personality than just giving her a cute, simple, sporty style. I think just because you're the maybe silly, quirky, ditzy character, you don't always need to have these striped socks. I feel like there's nothing wrong with having that standard format and kind of structure to her outfit. Let's just go with something a little more stylish, accessorize and style around that with some other quality, interesting pieces. That white shirt is nice that she has in her artwork, but I just feel like it contributes to such a flat look. I feel like we can give her something that's a little more dimensional with something that's also pretty plain, like a simple plain cropped button-up shirt that isn't a crazy pattern with a simple casual white shirt underneath. Very average. A lot of regular people dress like this, but it gives it just that extra touch of style and elevation and flair that I think a character like Whitney's more than capable of pulling off. But thank goodness we have Morty coming in to save us, to give us the style that we're looking for. I even remember his sprite a little more deliberately from the past with just how cool it looked. It also had black and purple. We're sticking to our theming perfectly. I would say the artwork where he has more of the blue style is a little different, and I think the color palette obviously doesn't really have much synergy with Ghost in that regard. But the new artwork is so fresh. That scarf is absolutely everything. And just again, against black with a little sprinkle of white in the pants, nothing wrong with that. We still get the clue. We still know what's going on here. 10 out of 10. And the only item that I think for the sake of shopping to give him would just be a pair of red sunglasses. Like, if you really want to give the full Gengar fantasy coordination synergy situation, some simple red glasses I think really do the trick and touch very nicely to the red he has in his scarf without being too red and over the top. So I'm going to talk about Chuck and Bruno again, because Bruno is once again part of the Elite Four, which is why I feel like the style was so redundant and a little underwhelming going from Gen 1 to Gen 2. But we've talked about this. I understand the incredible power and magnitude and status behind this martial arts gear, and I feel like it obviously aligns really well, but like, we've seen this. I just, especially in like newer installments, would have just loved to see a little something else. I've said quite a bit with regard to these traditional cultural looks that if we could just get some sort of modern spin, it's not that hard. I don't think, and maybe this is where I'm critical, to just add in an item that still gives the cultural influence spirit, but doesn't look so literal. Or2 is a brand that I absolutely love. I own several of their pieces. They have, I think, a bit more of a European Mediterranean kind of style and cut to their clothing, but they have a lot of belted items, lots of just a loose cloth belt that wraps either around the waist of the pants or around like a vest or a shirt. And I feel like having a nice white, lightweight vest would work perfectly here. Jasmine, I think, was much better originally. I'm just gonna start there. This newer version of her style and her artwork is cute, but I feel like they either maybe played up more of like the fan service cutesy character, like dressy type stuff instead of, I think, trying to pay off her typing a bit more. I liked that her outfit originally was just all white. I feel like an all white pure look kind of gives the shine of steel, and it's an interesting juxtaposition to steel being so hard and rugged and tough, while her clothes were more flowy and easy breezy, almost kind of giving flying type, especially with her hairstyle. So her look doesn't need, I think, much more to be elevated and give it more of that typing connection. She just needs some hardware. I was surprised to see that there was no incorporation of any sort of hardware on her artwork or avatar at all. Like, and she doesn't even need a lot. We don't need bands or bangles or these big, like a big corset. Something as simple as a little designer classy belt or something. I love a belted dress. I love a belted jacket. I love a belted bodysuit. Price, I think, was one of my biggest eye rolls. I'm just like, what is going on here? I don't even know what inspired the original design. Maybe it was the climate, but like ice type, meanwhile dressed like it's the middle of summertime. Confusion. And that's why I'm like, with this new upgrade in style, absolutely. We should have gotten this to begin with. A blue coat, we're already tying to the ice type there, and the scarf, and just the overall more bundled up and sophisticated look is so much sharper. And with this much stronger glow up, I think that we only need to, and I saw this, I think, in Masters EX, he had like a bit more of a decorative scarf. Let's just go with a more decorative scarf. Acne Studios had a nice kind of winter color palette, ice color palette situation going on. Comfy, soft, snowflakey. Let's just go ahead and add that just to really reinforce the overall ice situation. Before Chris, there was Claire. And she's obviously the standout here. Like, we need her in Johto to really serve us anything. I love the small differentiations in her design from Gen 2 to Gen 4. Like, there's just a difference in the shoes. I love the statement boots that she's getting here in the more recent, and just really those black bands around the top of the boots and around the gloves. I know I've talked about capes, but her cape is so much less drama than like Lance's was. Hers just feels a bit more subtle and definitely a nice statement accessory. I think that I would have maybe liked just yet a bit more darker color like she originally had in her dress and her accessories. And because she's such a serve, I just don't think that she honestly needs much else. She's carrying, her back must hurt from carrying all the weight of Johto. So Will, for some reason I was like, I don't remember this character at all, but I much more remember his silhouette from before. Having a black jacket with that statement pink tie and just the pink cuffs, I just feel like was so much stronger. I feel like the black had a much more dominant presence, which I feel like gave some of that depth and curiosity and mystery of Psychic. I love in the newer artwork his vest the most. That's, I think, what's giving us the strongest style, just with the gold elements as well and the tail effect. Love that. I don't like that it's over the pink shirt. I just feel like it flattens the upper body completely, which is why we're visiting Ortu again, because they have a lot of jackets that are like cropped or have a nice double-breasted design. And I feel like he's kind of working with like a double button, double-breasted kind of vest situation. We can have an all pink suit moment and expression, and I feel like that doesn't take away from the longer dimension that the vest has. It just gives him overall more framing in the shoulders and more framing in the upper body. And I also want this jacket. I've yet to buy it. So Koga, because he worked his way up into Elite Four, I wasn't going to talk about him, but I figured we could, because I mentioned before how I think his overall design is super strong. It definitely ties to his typing. I think that it is a pretty evergreen style, and I do like some of the decorative elements within, just to not make it look too cultural bound and rooted and flat like maybe say a lot of the fighting characters are. But I do still think that there's opportunity for something a bit more modern and a much more progressive silhouette or break out of this, especially for a prominent character that has had multiple appearances within the franchise. So once again, we're hitting up Ortu because, like I said, they have a lot of that, even whether it's Eastern, I don't know what we want to call it, even if it is European and a little Mediterranean, we just have more of that non-Western cut to some of the clothes that just feels more culturally inspired. And I have this whole set. I have the vest and the pants. And I feel like this is a great set that easily resembles his gear. You could even make it a jacket instead of just a vest, or have some sort of black shirt underneath. Like, there's so much options here. And just like with some black boots or just like tall shoes, similar to kind of what he already wears, throw a red scarf in there, like we're definitely onto something. I feel so bad for forgetting Karen. I had no idea that she was in the mix, looking like a fashion queen. She's definitely serving, especially in the absence of Lorelai. Like, Will try to help Lorelai, it's a spot, but we needed someone like Karen to really hold it down. I would say that her original design is much more cohesive with her typing than her newer one. Her newer one is definitely giving electric typing, but either way, she's fierce. Like, she's giving us all the style we could want. She's actually giving us some body confidence that we haven't been getting in a lot of the other parts of this region. So I'm just overall loving her design. She doesn't need much else because she's rocking so hard. But give her a Bottega Veneta bag. Something that is the same color of her hair, because that's a bag that she could wear regardless of her outfits, because we already know that she's going to be slaying in whatever outfit she puts on. Just give her go-to statement bag, just to make sure that she takes it that extra notch up every single time. And last but not least, we have Silver. I distinctly remember him. He is just so cool. I love his outfit. It's definitely giving, I think, a similar kind of energy as Blue, but definitely innovated with just, I think, a stronger statement item. That jacket with the red trim to it, similar to Lysander's or Lysandre. Love just how that is such a complimentary statement item, and the shoes coordinate perfectly. I love when Pokemon does a really good job at coordinating like the top with the shoes, and it just gives the shoes so much more character than just looking like a typical sneaker. As far as what statement item could work for him, I think people underestimate the power of denim. And if you have a certain type of denim pant or jean, that can really change the tone of the outfit. So I wanted to see if I could find a clear, connected kind of statement jean that could work with him without changing the vibe. And these pants look a little more purple. They're not completely blue. Blue, I think, would take away from the top, honestly, and I think would kind of be a little distracting. We need something that is more of that color. It's more of a purple. So I found these Ferragamo jeans. This one definitely pairs well, and I think allows still the statement richer blue top and with the red to stand out without getting too lost. Happy to put my manual human work into good use to pull together some interesting new ways of seeing how we could style these characters. I would love to know what you think. Did you discover some brands and pieces that maybe you hadn't thought of or seen before? You should definitely check out Essence and do some shopping there. Not sponsored, obviously. And of course, until the next video, I'll talk to you later.